Some people want to do interview now. They don't know the full meaning of EY. They don't even know it's an abbreviation.
And I was an NYS intern at KPMG before I applied for EY. So I was in an opportune environment. It was like a 30-minute interview. I think I had connection issues. I'm a software engineer. So for my CV, I was been about tech. I mentioned in my CV that I built this application, I work with this startup. They asked me questions about it, asked me scenario questions. If that sounds like a broken record, WhatsApp groups are important.
Is it like from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.?
Was the whole day.
Of course.
We have a remote culture in EY, so most times most units don't come to the firm.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching and everyone who will still watch. And again, it's another episode in the graduate trainee series that we're doing, where I get to interview folks who have gotten into different firms in the country through the graduate trainee route. Again, the graduate trainee route is just that pathway that folks who do not have experience yet can get into very, very great firms in the country. So you do not need work experience to get into firms when it comes to the graduate trainee pathway. And today I'll be speaking to Michael of EY. Michael, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for me. That's for you.
So, Michael, today we'll be speaking about the application process of EY. And we know that EY is currently out, and EY is one of those big fours. Anytime we talk about big four in the WhatsApp community, there's always a buzz. KPMG, EY, Deloitte, PwC. There's always this buzz, and a lot of people are actually feeling super pumped to actually apply. And the whole video today is just to guide them. And so where we'll be starting from is where I've always started from with everyone. And it is to say that first things first is, when you got into EY, how did you see the vacancy? First things first. I know it's out, but I do not always want to think everybody knows where to find this information. So how did you see the vacancy? And number two is, when you were structuring your CV, right, what did you think you did differently?
All right. Okay, so to answer your first question, how I saw the vacancy, before then, I was opportune to be in a big four. And I was an NYS intern at KPMG. Before I applied for EY. So I was in an opportune environment, and that allowed me to know ahead of time that these graduate trainees will happen at so date, and the time that these big fours release their schedules for graduate trainee intakes. So also I was in that environment. It also gave me that consciousness to also seek out WhatsApp groups, channels, internet channels like WhatsApp, Telegram, of people sharing resources on, and also like right now there are many people that have WhatsApp groups for EY graduate trainee, PwC graduate trainee. So I always make sure to join those kind of groups, because no man is an island, and you always there are many people that have better information than you. There are people that have done this, and there are people that have been doing this graduate training every year consistently until EY or KPMG picks them. So that's why. So for the second question, how I structured you. Okay, my CV, into technology. I'm a software engineer. So for my CV, I was always been about tech. So all my experiences from school, because I said getting into tech proper my final year. So all my experiences from school has always been my background on front end and back end. Even at KPMG also, I got into KPMG as an NYS intern, because I already have my CV reflected what I wanted to do, which was technology consulting. I have already worked at startups before then, and to understand how good my CV was. Also, I had a business management background, which is not a typical software engineer technology consulting pathway. If you want to enter into technology consulting, so my CV helped a lot. So that's it.
Thank you very much. And what I'm hearing is, because it is tech, right? When it comes to tech, right, you could have built something, you could have done something for this personally. You don't really need something very structured. And so again, if you're applying to maybe the tech side, just put everything you've done, projects you've done, startups you've worked on, any certification you have. But if you're in tax and in audit, I think you just need to prove with your certificate from school. And if you're maybe doing ICANN or ACCA, you're fine. Again, when it comes to graduate training in any of the big fours, they do not hire because of work experience. Of course, maybe it's a plus when they are reviewing it, but it's not like the compulsory thing here. So many of us got into these places again without work experiences. So yeah. So after the
they also want to adding to what you said, they just want to, in your CV, you just want to see that, oh, you're willing to learn. So your past experiences in school, volunteering, debates, and even like if you're pushing your ICANN, your ACC, and other things also is a plus for you. So you must not really have a past experience. Yeah, that's it. Past work experience.
Thank you very much. So moving on from from that stage now, we want to get to, so after you've applied, you've done all the necessary things, maybe fill forms or whatever. Now, what you remember two things now. Can you remember the period between when you applied and when they mailed you? Maybe it's 2 weeks, 1 month. That's the first question. Then the second thing was, what was the first stage like? Was it assessment or was it interview or what it is? Before we even now discuss about it proper.
That's like 2 years ago, but I remember after I applied, I was still doing my NYC then. So after I applied, I think it was a month after that, that's when they reached out to me for the first, because there's always an exam. Yeah, a GMAT kind of an exam. Yeah, so it was a month after they reached out to me. Yeah, so it was a GMAT exam, online. You have to do it by yourself, and the time limit, I think it's a 1 hour time limit also. Yeah. And for the second question,
that's the second question. So there is GMAT. I know KPMG2 is GMAT, so it's like their questions are likely, they look the same because it's the same GMAT structure, right? So okay, so EY is GMAT, KPMG is GMAT. I think, I know PwC is not GMAT. So I mean, for the big fours now, EY is GMAT, KPMG is GMAT. I think when I speak to people in PwC and Deloitte, you're going to confirm the structure. After the exam is GMAT. Do you have any specific resource that you used to study? Can you remember?
Okay, so I mentioned before that I was different. When I say different, I had like multiple WhatsApp groups for this. I had multiple WhatsApp groups. Friends I had also, so I was still doing NYC. So the next step after NYC was, this graduate trainee, you have to enter these big four. You have to start getting all these big four companies before you finish. So I had a lot of past questions. I had a GMAT. I had different versions of GMAT. So I studied it back to back. I studied them back to back. Like GMAT is big cool. So I had GMAT English, the English preparation for GMAT English. Babel, the maths. I did some like big. I even did some. I had some online GMAT tests I also did. But what helped for EY is their past question actually. So in those groups I got past questions of even KPMG. Most of these firms they will repeat past questions. So if you have studied past, if you have studied these past questions, right? You're good to go, and combining it with your GMAT knowledge also. That's basically it.
Okay, but I think this is the opportunity time I'm going to say is that if you're in a WhatsApp community, I think it's one of the best things because they would always, I don't know where they get it, I don't know who gets it, I don't know who keeps it, but there's always past question that comes out every year for almost every firm. It just surfaces and then you see people sending things in, right? So I think people should just stay tuned to that. So after the GMAT has been done,
before I also want to add, even though you don't past question don't repeat. In my own case, you repeat it, but even though you don't repeat, like you have a good idea of what you expect, basically, and what you expect won't be totally different from what you see from the past question. Won't be totally different from what they said. Yeah, that's it.
I think the past question helps you with structure. So even if you don't see it, you understand or you have an idea of, what's going to come out. So now we are done with the GMAT question, right? Which is where they kind of phase out a lot of people. And that's why I'm usually emphasizing in our community to say that, see, I can help you with interviews, maybe when you get to assessment center or something, but I can't help you with assessment. You have to go to maybe YouTube, study those things, past questions and all of that. So after the GMAT, right, what's the stage 2 of the process for EY?
Okay. Before you go to that, I just what you just said now that you can help them with what's it called now? Preparation, but you can't take the assessment. I want to add one more thing that will help them also. When they're taking the GMAT, EY GMAT or any GMAT, let them try to, you should be time conscious. Like that 1 hour you it seems like a lot until you get the until you get the question. So if you're
I
not
know,
if
right?
you think like you have to have like time limit for each questions.
Yeah.
If possible, if in 1 minute you can't answer one question, move to the next, move to the next, move to the next. After you come back to it, basically, there are easy questions you can answer it easily that will save you time. So when you come back, you can now start thinking about it. So that's my tip for what taught me. So yeah. So for the next process after that, after the GMAT was a manager's interview. So EY's own
Mm.
is different, but it's a manager's for after GMAT is manager's interview. Yeah. After they
So,
have been selected.
so do you want to now explain your experience in details with the manager's interview? Because I think you have a lot to say there.
Yeah, okay. That was when I got the email. It was the experience. When I got the email, I saw a lot of names. I saw like was it 6 names? That's the head of AR. Head of HR is always there. Yeah, head of AR is always there, and other managers in the field we select in the area. Let me
Your
say
unit. Yeah.
EY, yeah, area you select. So like when you go to EY, when you open the EY application, you can select tax, assurance, that consulting. So I selected consulting. So I selected consulting, and at that day I had the managers that were there. We are technology consulting person. Yeah, I think I still don't remember how they got to know my profile there, but I think I sent my CV too. I don't remember then. I don't remember now, but I think I sent my CV for them to schedule a interview with a technology consulting person. So either when I was selecting the application, I selected technology consulting, or doing this thing, they asked me for my CV. So I don't know the exact, but they will definitely sometimes. Some people might have a different. They might schedule. The interview might be with someone from a different area, or area tax or something that is not where you want to be, but most times is always where you want to be. The area is selected in the application. So scheduling with an interview with a technology consulting person, technology consulting manager. So if the manager is not around, it might be a senior. So there are hierarchies in this firm. Might be a senior. During the interview, I think it was my earphone that day. So it was very tense. I think they had to tell me to calm down a bit. Oh, like to calm down, ask these questions. I dropped my earphone and put it on loudspeaker. And afterwards I was calm. So the questions, it was pretty much they just for the questions they asked you, they just want to know they just want to they want to know you. They want to know what the person. They want to know the person that wants to like enter this EY. What if he's a good fit actually, and if you're actually even if you don't have any job experience, they want to know if you're willing to learn, willing to work in a team, willing to contribute. So for people that already have job experience, yeah, I'm sure because they asked me questions for my CV. They asked me questions for my. I sent my CV. Yeah, I think they asked your CV before that interview actually. Yeah, the head of HR will ask you to send your CV before some days before that interview. So they asked me questions for my CV, what I did. So in technology, for me in technology, software engineer, they asked me the things that I mentioned in my CV that I built this application, what could you start up? They asked me questions about it, asked me scenario questions. Oh, they asked me scenario based questions concerning what my area field of study, concerning the things I built, and also asked me scenario based questions concerning my how I behave in a work environment. For instance, if my manager was maybe I'm in a meeting and my manager was wrong or so, should I correct them in the meeting or should I not correct them? So the right answer to that is you should wait after, like you're in a client. Let me paint this here again. You're in a client meeting, your manager made a mistake in the report or so, and you noticed it. So in that kind of scenario, you shouldn't correct them. It should be afterwards. You call their attention after the client meeting. Yeah, so those kind of scenario questions, yeah. So they just want to gauge who you are. And if you give good answers to it, like you're relaxed, you're calm, give good answers. I used all the things you're able to prove all the things you said in your CV. You're good to go. So that's another tip. Don't lie in your CV. Say put what you can defend your CV because the questions will definitely be there. Yeah.
Do you remember any specific question that you think you didn't answer to the best of your ability?
Was there?
Because I know you like locked in for that for that interview.
I prepared that was my whole life. Yeah, I think there are some places. I think there's one or two. So yeah, but I think I pick myself up. Yeah, but even if there's one or two you don't answer, just pick yourself. Chalk it as
Exactly.
Next one I'll get this. I'll get this later.
Yeah. Again, I try to like say this part because I think I try to speak with many of these guys when they go for interviews, right? Some firms that they've done interviews, I try to speak to them before the interview, and then when they come back, they do not even mention the questions that they got right. They just go straight to the ones that they didn't get right. They're like, hey, he asked me this, and I was like, see, everybody that got in, maybe I should not say everybody, but most people who got into many of these big firms, including the biggest firms, right? They got one or two or three questions wrong. They are not looking for maybe someone that has 100% clean record.
Yeah.
Of course, they just want to, because they know that you're a graduate trainee. They will be training you for at least the next 1 year. They don't expect anything from you, to be honest. They are going to be training
Yeah.
you, except you have maybe, for example, previous big four, and then you know how one or two things are done. But most people don't even know how. So it's okay that when you do not get a question right, you forget it on the spot, like you mentioned, and then you go straight to the next one. Again, if you're watching, it's okay that you do not know any question, or you do not know some question, not any question. You do not have answers to some of the questions, maybe one or two, but are you ready to learn? Does it look like a potential that the firm is looking for? If yes, then there is nothing that is stopping you from going to the next round. So that's how the managers level interview went. So you're going to have about 6 people, HR, and then they're going to speak to you based on maybe culture and your team majorly, what you had on your CV based on the things you've done. So after the manager's interview, right? And this manager's interview, was it physical or it was virtual? I think it was virtual.
It was a virtual job. Yeah.
Okay.
Virtual online interview.
Okay. After this virtual interview, what was the next stage?
Well, the next stage was the assessment center. Yeah. So yeah. So should I expand more on that? Should I describe my experience?
Yeah, you can expand on that.
Yeah, so the assessment center is the next stage after the manager's interview. So I think that was was it a month after or 2 months after? I still don't remember. This was 2024. So I see the timelines are a bit more body.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes, and sometimes it's different, like depending on I think at a phase some all these phase GMAT, manager's interview, assessment center, depending on the set, and depending on what is happening in that financial year, it might be earlier for you or it might be later, or some processes in this thing might be delayed after. Let me say you took the GMAT and it might 1 month, 2 months. Some big four firms will keep you waiting to the next process. So it just depends. But I think I took 1 month. It took 1 month. So it was the assessment center, and basically the assessment center, what is it about? The assessment center is basically for them to, the whole aim is for them to gauge, for you to come into their office. So each of these big fours now, EY, come to their office. So I know that some EY, some big fours prefer virtual assessment centers. Yeah, but I think now that there's a return to normal work culture after COVID, is more physical assessment centers now. So as I was saying, the assessment center is just basically to gauge, to come into the office and give you test scenarios, gauge how you behave in a normal work environment. So on that day, I went into the EY office. So the EY office, EY head office, which is at Marina, UBA head office. So we are ushered into the building, and when it was time, we are ushered up into the building. So the first stage in the assessment center was first off, there was an interview. So you in this just like the manager's interview, this is another interview. So I had 2 managers. One was from technology consulting, the unit I was coming in, and risk consulting. So most times it's basically this interview is with a manager in the unit or area you applied for. So yeah. But I think one of the technology consulting managers was not available. That's why there's someone from risk consulting was there. So the question they asked me, I think they told me they told me to introduce myself. I talked about myself, talked about what I am, my experience, what again. Yeah. So basically they just wanted to know me. Wanted to introduce myself, I talk about myself. Then they asked me to pick a question. So this was my set. I don't know. This was my set. This was what happened during my graduate training FY24. Yeah, FY24. Is that FY24 or 2025? Yeah. So they asked after the introduction and introducing myself. They asked me to pick a question. So the question is usually based on pending, like a current national issue, current affairs. So the question I picked was AI, and as a software engineer, and that question favored me. So I think okay, the question I picked was cryptocurrency, not AI. So, but there are questions on AI, like a long was, I think there are like 20 questions. So yeah, because I had how I helped, like what helped me prepare for that question actually. Let me go back to what I talked about WhatsApp group. People that went earlier actually gave us clue on what to expect. So that's why it's good to join this
Okay.
WhatsApp group. Yeah, so it gave us clue on what to expect. So I read up, like I read a lot of, before that day, I read a lot of current affairs. I read a lot of current issues, crypto, because crypto was the buzz, then crypto, AI, like they can even ask questions about inflation, deflation. They can even ask about the Iran. They can even ask, I think Russia and Ukraine was also
Okay.
there was the top of the headlines at that time. So there are some people that got that question. So they asked me about crypto. I answered it to the best of my knowledge because I've dabbled in the crypto space. Yeah. So and afterwards they were satisfied with my answer. I was even asking them questions back also, and it was a very lively conversation because the purpose of interview is that as they're interviewing you, also you should also interview them also, like, ask them question
Mhm.
about it and EY, what have been like. I asked the risk consulting manager, the risk consulting manager, who is my counselor right now, even the person that interviewed me. I asked him, how's EY been for you? How many years have you been here? Like, do you like
Mhm.
EY? Like questions that will get the catch them off guard. Like,
Yeah.
this person actually wants to be here. Like, this person actually wants to know if EY makes sense for them. So that's basically it. So as they're interviewing you, also interview them, ask them questions, make it friendly, and they want you to relax. I think when I started the interview first, I was a bit fidgety also, like asked me to calm down. Then I picked up the pace.
Yeah.
Then that's it.
Okay. Was that the only thing you did in assessment center?
Yes. Sorry. Sorry. That was the first stage. So the second stage was the assessment
Exactly.
interview. So after that was the second stage. Second stage is a group behavioral assess, like this is a group case study. A group case study. So they
Mhm.
pair you with four other people or five other people, depending. Yeah. So and they give you a test scenario, a business case. So this business case, before now, I thought I was in a WhatsApp group. I knew, like, even from past years, in that WhatsApp group, even without us, even without me getting clues from people that went for the exams some days before mine. Before then, like in the past, that WhatsApp group, like the people that were there were very active. So before the exams, like someone we are on calls, people are telling people
Mhm.
that have had this experience, like let us know what to expect, that this is group case study, this is one, this is one, this is one. So like that's why it's good to be on this WhatsApp group. So on that group, for the group case study, I prepared beforehand. I went to YouTube, I read up on group case studies, like business case studies from BCG and all these typical business case studies. So the aim of the group case study is just to know how you work with teams. And also for the group case study, they want to also see how you contribute. So you can't just leave it to one person to do everything, and you should not try to outshine the other person. Don't do too much I too know, but you also have to show that you're contributing, and
Yeah.
there's no wrong or right answer because everybody contributed. Like they gave me I think the group case study they gave me was they gave me a case study for a boots manufacturer, yeah, a boots maker that wanted to enter into the under what's it called now, a demography. Yeah, I think they were making I think they are making boots for this thing for normal consumers, and they wanted to enter into the boots market for people that work in manufacturing firms. You know that their own kind of boots are different. So they
Mhm.
asked us they gave us sample case study, told us, these are the charts, these are what the market is saying. Do you think these people should do this? And many other questions. So the person that interviewed us, the person that handled this for us, the person that handled the group case study, he was a very, very tough person, and he told us we got the answers wrong. But I think that's one thing to emphasize, that there are no wrong answers. They just want to know, how you came
Mhm.
about your answers, how you're working in the group. So you might even get the answer wrong, but like you willing to show that, people work together, you contributed, and all these things.
Yeah.
That all these things are man. So it's not about getting the answers right or wrong. Yeah, you just have to show that, you can work in a group. Yeah, you can work in a team. So after that was the last stage. So the last stage was they gave us a puzzle So the puzzle was the puzzle was related to the field you selected. So I was in consulting, tech consulting. So the questions they gave me like, was it 15 or 10 questions? So 10 questions, and like you fill in the blanks down below in the listing after the puzzle area. So there were clues to what the blanks would be like, and the questions were tricky. The puzzle was tricky because you know these puzzles that are crossword puzzle. So one word leads another one. One sentence can complete another sentence. So, very, very tricky. But I was able to. I think I managed to answer like 6, I think 8 of them or so. So because I prepared very well, that's why I prepared very well. I knew that this was going to come. I got that from the people that went earlier. So that's why WhatsApp groups are important. It seems like I'm sounding like a broken record. WhatsApp groups are important. so that's basically it. So the crossword puzzle, I prepared very well for them. For group case study, I prepared very well for them. So yeah, and even for the interview, I prepared very well for them. So that's basically preparations. So yeah, that's it for the.
Yeah, is it like from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.?
Was the whole day? Was the whole day?
Of course. Of course. They never disappoint. So
try to make an impression. Try to wear be on corporate. Be corporate. Like dress. Even though you don't wear suit. I didn't wear a suit. Yeah, you can wear suit actually. I wore a tie. I wear corporate shirt, corporate trouser, corporate shoe. Yeah. But some people who wear suits, people are prepared. Like don't dress impressed. Don't be there. Don't go there and feel like you're underdressed, please.
Yeah. I think one trick, right, in consulting Big Four, they like to dress big, right? So please, if to be on the safe side, just wear your suit. If you have a suit, please just carry it, even if it's only for that day, right? Just wear the suit. So I do not like suits, but wear it.
I don't even find out. I firmly won't tell you that afterwards, when you get in this KPMG EY, they don't. No, most times we don't even wear suits. Even most times, we don't. Yeah, just corporate shirts. Yeah, even you just wear. Do you even wear tie? Don't wear ties. So just for that day, just go on your best.
Those would wear it out of their volition, right? So again, but when you're about to get in, you need to do everything humanly and legally possible for you to get in. When you now get in, I mean, the only reason I'm doing this video is for you to get in. Whatever you do when you get in, it's not my business. We've done our part to tell you that you do this, then you get in. When you get in, whatever your eyes see, I mean, embrace it like that, but you're ready. And it's much better to be in than to be outside, to be honest. It's better to be that, yes. So in the assessment center, there are 3 major activities. You do the first level interview, then you go to the group stage, then you do the old puzzle stuff, right? And again, like you said, just try to prepare as much as possible. At this point, I expect that if you want to, for example, if you are getting to this point, you already know about EY, you know the vision and mission. I usually emphasize these things very much when I talk to people about interviews, and some of them take it serious, some of them don't, right? You know that the way to know that you embody an organization or that you're going to be fit cultural wise is that you understand, you can speak to their mission, what they are trying to do. You can speak to their vision, what they want to achieve. You can speak to their core values, what you should abide by as the firm is trying to achieve those things. I think it is very, very important, right? If you imagine you get to you get into an interview room and they are saying that, hey, what are your values? And then you mention like 3 of their values and you say it's also your value, it's how you've lived, it's the way you look at life. I mean, they are saying that, okay, this guy looks like the person that is going to fit into us because his personal life even looks like something that we live. And if the value is integrity, you say you live a life of integrity. Together for better, you do together for better, right? I mean, those things, they really impact how the interviewers, they see you from answering questions that way, rather than listing all the values in this world except what the firm is doing. Right, it looks like you guys are on you're on a different journey, you're on a different path, and it's like, okay, maybe you didn't do anything wrong, but we can't continue with you. So that's what cultural fit means. Yes, cultural fit is that you're not necessarily bad, but we can't work with you. I think you want to say something concerning this.
Yeah. You can see me smiling because you just remember. Just reminded me of something. You know, you asked me a question of if I failed one answer. Where the manager interview. I remember a question I failed. The question was about EY. What I know about EY. So they asked me what's in about EY I like, why I want to pursue EY, like technology consulting EY. I think the only thing that helped me was I think I went to their website. That is, people are telling like, I actually knew that I should have done this. I was not focusing on it, but I think what saved me was that, well, I know EY is good. That technology consulting unit is good in AI and all that. So I talked about AI. So I didn't answer it the best one I done, but that's that. At least going to their website, like making some findings helped. But I would have done better. So I would have researched better. So yeah.
I think because that question looks very common, we don't tend to read about it. When we did the KPMG video, I did it with a colleague and a friend. He said the question he didn't answer very well was also a question about KPMG. Right? Tell us about KPMG, and he said he went blank and all of that. So I mean, because it looks very common, people tend to just discard it and all of those things and all of that. Please, as you are, some people want to do interview now. They don't know the full meaning of EY. They don't even know it's an abbreviation. They don't even know it's an abbreviation, right? So please, like we usually say, please lock in the street lingua. Lock in, please, because when you get in, you would see the reason why it's good for you to get in. So yeah. Now, you've done GMAT, you've passed GMAT, you've done the manager's level interview, you've passed the manager's level interview, you've done the assessment center, which is physical and took the whole day, you've passed it. What's the next stage after that?
Okay, so after this, is a long waiting period. Please know your feet. Because it's very new your feet. Because and this is the thing is that those days we are anxiety inducing days. Like I like you keep pressing, because what they told us was a month after a month after the assessment center that you get a result, they will give us a cover. I think it took like 2 months before they reached out back to us. It took like 2 months. So on the WhatsApp, especially if you're on WhatsApp group, that you always be taking your to be like people. There are people that usually play pranks like this, and they tell you, oh, they are losing. So it was a long waiting period, like I think before then, there are signs. I think there are signs where you know that we have been selected. Like you start getting EY emails. Like EY emails on your Gmail. Yeah, I don't know how it works for KPMG, but when you know that you have done your best, like that, they have considered it, is when you start getting EY emails or something like that, like random emails about EY and all that on your Gmail. So yeah, you can know that. So yeah, that's basically. Then afterward, I think some few days I got the email, and then the email is arrived in batches. So I think tax and other units got theirs before consulting. So if you don't get yours immediately, don't panic. I think what ours was tax got there. Was it a day or in the? I think a day after ours. But afterwards we got our own also. So that's basically it. Yeah.
So for EY, there is nothing like partners interview.
No, there's no partners interview. No.
Wow.
So the manager's interview there. Yeah, I think the manager's interview there is what's fueling for the partners interview that we have in KPMG.
Cool. Makes sense. So I mean, this is like the entire length and breadth of the whole Ernst Young application process. Again, just have to do your best and then prepare as much as you can. So final question, Michael. Now, just an open check now, right? There are people that are going to be applying. There are people literally that I know people who have told me that it is only EY they want out of all the big. I do not know why, and they will be applying now. Like they want to put all their egg in a basket to say that, see, this is where I want to push. I don't want KPMG, those guys that wear blue. I don't want them. I don't want Deloitte, those guys in green. I don't want PwC, those guys. Now, what do you have to say to the person as based on your experience of someone that has been inside?
In my experience, it's a good choice. EY is the best. I'm not being threatened. Yeah, I can say anyway. EY is the best. Yeah, EY is the best. There's the work culture is really good, and is more. I think if you ask anyone, EY has EY. EY as one of the big four is one of the big four that has a more globally connected EY partnership with other EY firms in other countries.
Different countries.
So it's easy for you, so it's easy for you to work with EY UK, EY India. Like we have jobs with EY India, EY UK, EY Saudi. So and it's also easy for you to even go on client assessment to those areas. So like they are very, very globally linked. And we have a remote culture in EY. So most times most units don't come to the firm. So yeah, so I think that will that's a very very attractive for people to live in Lagos, that you always have to jump the bus every day compared to other big falls. I don't want to call their names, that require you to come 2 days or 3 days. I don't want to call their names. So picking EY is the best one. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, but it's also good to consider other, like it's also good to take other, like when it's also good to consider other applications for that big fours also. So don't put your egg in one basket. So if
Yes.
EY breaks your heart,
Yes, please.
if EY
Yes,
breaks your
please.
heart, you don't cry too much. Like you have something
Yes.
you hold in hands, like you have in your
Yeah.
hand. So that's basically it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I have to say.
Thank you. I won't fight you based on other big fours. I mean, you own the microphone, so I'll let you shine. I think the remote culture is a big selling point, and also
Yeah.
like you said, most people who get into one big four have applied to all others. Some of they didn't
Um,
give them the one, they got one, right? So
yeah, yeah.
again, you might really want one, but please still put in applications to all of the four available. And yes, I know we've been talking majorly big four is because we're talking about one of the big fours. There are still banks, right? But I think we've done the one for Polaris Bank, we've done one for Access Bank, there's still a lot of banks that do graduate trade and some of these other firms. So I think it's been a good one. Thank you very, very. Okay.
Yeah. I also want to add, I probably didn't mention this, but what is mentioned here, the last thing you say right now, considering other big fours while you're going for your preferred choice. I was once a victim of this, because I mentioned I was in KPMG, NYC 10. I didn't get KPMG though, because I didn't put my egg in one basket, because earlier I did actually. I was very very sure KPMG didn't work out. I got EY, and that turned out to be
Mm-hmm.
like a turning point in my life. So it all worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So what helped was that I didn't put my egg in one basket, even though I did earlier,
Yeah.
because I like KPMG. I like it, but I like
Mm-hmm.
EY now. I'm not feeling that, but yeah, it's good to like do all the GMAT for this, like do all the past questions for all these firms, the big fours. They're talking about big fours, but most these things also apply to other. So do all the past
Yes.
questions,
Yes.
GMAT. Most even if you don't get GMAT, most of the questions are based on the ideal mindset of how you approach GMAT questions. So that's basically it.
Yeah.
And locking, you're going to get it. If you don't get it now, you're going to get it soon. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully people get into EY and they say that they saw your video and it's your video that has guided them. I mean, it's before I even started making videos, I try to guide people to get into KPMG, and every once and again when I see them, it's always beautiful. I was part of the story and all of those things, right? So yeah, I mean, it's been a good one. And finally, I want to say that because he was in Big Four before wasn't the reason why he got EY. No, there are a lot of us that have never been in Big Four and we got into Big Four.
Yeah.
Before I got into Big Four, many of my friends that are scattered around the Big Four was never in Big Four before they got into Big Four. So it's not because of that. So thank you very
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
Michael.
So,
It's
I want to
been.
add one more thing. You're giving me more points. As you speak, I get more. Like I also want to add that you not making EY or KPMG. Let me say EY. You are like normally each year all these application for the big fours and other firms come out. You then giving a rejection doesn't mean that your people that got in are more intelligent than you. So you just basically these people they might have advantage. They have been practicing for a while. They have been targeting these firms for many years or so. So if you don't get EY, move on to the next, move on to the next, move on to the next. You
Yes,
surely get one.
yes.
That basically it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not saying any more points. Thank you, Michael, for coming.
So,
It's been a very good conversation, and I hope that this would guide people to get into EY. And I hope that they get into EY, they see you, they say, "Hey, I watched your video with Ferrami, and it was a very good one for me." So thank you very much. Till we see you on another episode of this graduate training series, please keep safe,
you're
be
welcome.
fine, and lock in. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Till we see you again.